Hello everybody, Paul D. Robinson here, parked on my porch and having a look at this Beatles classic, Don't Let Me Down, which quite incredibly didn't make it onto the Let It Be album, but I suppose the Beatles had lots of great songs. It's got some wonderful things about it, by the way. So it's mostly in 4/4 time, which is typical of most rock music, but there are some lines with 5 beats to the bar. And having 5 beats to the bar has the effect of stringing that line of music out. So for example, nobody ever loved me like she does. 5 beats to the bar. And if you happen to be John Lennon and singing about your love for Yoko Ono, which seems to be what it's about, then why not string it out a little bit? So without further ado, let's start having a look at some of these guitar parts. So let's have a look at the opening riff, which is repeated multiple times through the song. And what we're doing, we're barring our 9th fret to make an E inversion chord. So you can hit that E string or not as you wish. What you're trying to do is avoid hitting your little E string, but still, it's pretty forgiving, because if you do that, then you've turned it into an E6, which is forgivable. Then you're going to play a series of duplets on the E and D strings and D and G strings, and then back to the A and D strings. And the duplets are like this: A and D you strike, and then hammer from 9 to 11 on the A, and then D and G hammering on to your 11th from 9th again. Together again, and then back to A and D using the 12th of your A, sliding down the 11th. Put it all together. So then if we slow all of that down and look at it with the tab, it should be much clearer. Again, if you strike any notes outside of those that have just been discussed, it won't sound too bad. It's very forgiving because they all sit on top of this E chord. And from there, you're going to go into the chorus, which is largely on this F sharp minor chord, which is in effect on the same 9th fret, making an A minor shape. You might have noticed that when we were playing this F sharp minor chord, I lifted off my pinky once or twice, before going into the riff. And lifting off your pinky from your G string, in effect, changes your F sharp minor into an F sharp minor 7th. So while George is doing all this fancy stuff, John's doing something a little bit simpler. He's playing an F sharp minor, an F sharp minor 7th, an E, then suspending the E with his little finger, and back to E, like this. Convenient, because this series of chords rolls over into the first verse. So after John sings his 5/4 bar, nobody ever loves me like she does, then we go back into the F sharp minor, F sharp minor 7th, E, suspended and back to E. Nobody ever loved me like she does. She does. Yeah, she does. So in terms at least of the chorus and the verses, you've got enough there to get you through a campfire version. Now it's going to get a little bit trickier because we're going to have a look at what George was doing during the verse. So now George goes into this series of duplets that start up here on the 12th fret with your B string and the E string 14th fret, and these series of duplets end up down here on the 7th fret on an E major 7th. We'll do that slowly, and you can see it while you're looking at the tab. So there's just one last bit to look at, which is the bridge, which is to say the part that starts on I'm in love for the first time. And the chords to this are an E, a B7, back to the E, then suspended, and back to your E again. Like this. I'm in love for the first time. Don't you know it's gonna last? Then you hang around on that B7 for a time. The E, the suspension, and back to the E. And that just about gets you through the song. So what have we learned? Well, if you want to do this as a campfire song, you can get through it by sticking closely to what John Lennon was playing. If you want to get some of those more iconic guitar licks in there, then you can try and follow, for the most part, what George Harrison was playing. And of course, if you're playing in a band with two guitars, you can weave them both together and it'll sound really great. I hope that was useful to you. If so, don't forget to subscribe and hit your notification bell, and I'll see you again on the porch here very soon. Bye bye for now.